Brittany and John have been exchanging partners for many years. That's how the conversation started. Out of the blue, on Saturday, as we raked leaves on an unusually warm fall morning, my wife of 5 years casually gave away this valuable information about her cousin and best friend. What? I was caught off guard and instantly intrigued by her provocative statement. Are you saying that you want to do this too? I sat on the edge of a pile of leaves while Heather collected them and placed them in a large black plastic bag. Not with them. Instant response. But do you really want this? Taking a sip of water, I watched my agile wife work. Stopping, she turned to me. Have you thought about it? She grabbed the water bottle from me. Neither of us were virgins before we got married. We were both 30, we were in college, and each of us had full sex lives. We met, on a Tinder date for that matter. We were both looking for a quick, no-strings-attached fling to recover from our respective breakups. We were both absolutely sure of this. Her boyfriend of a year left her for his ex, while my girlfriend of a year and a half just disappeared one afternoon like a ghost. I later found out that she had left town with her yoga instructor, Lexi. Apparently, they had an affair for 6 months. That's right, Lexi got the best job offer in Los Angeles. My ex left me for her. I tried to get angry, but I couldn't. Lexi exuded a sex appeal and feminine magnetism that was irresistible and undeniable. I probably would have run away with her myself if she had fallen in love and called me. Heather and I lived with our loved ones, but they decided to find their happiness with other people. When we met, we just wanted to shake off the rust and feel the warmth of a body next to us. 5.5 years later, I was very happy that I made the right move. We talked about our sexual past and discussed swapping, or maybe a threesome. I was neither offended nor shocked by this topic. It was just time. I guessed that she had been thinking about this for some time. We might consider going through something wild and colorful before we start destroying my exquisite body with pregnancy and childbirth, she said, running her hands over this fabulous body. I grabbed her around the waist and pulled her with me onto a pile of leaves. We both laughed and giggled. She fought back, scattering leaves. I pulled her to me and kissed her. We lay there among the fallen leaves. So, swingers? I asked. Yes, Britt pointed me to a swingers site where we can find an experienced couple. She also recommends a trial run before joining any swingers communities or sex clubs. There was a twinkle in her eye as she shared her research with me. I'm definitely not ready to commit myself to the group. I'm not even sure that I want to be in the same house with you when you're with some stud. This is true. I've thought about this before, and I wasn't keen on the idea of seeing Heather making love to someone else's boyfriend. Agree. She knew how to get her way. I think a lot of people try couples first to see if they like changing partners or not. I've already found a couple who are willing to give us both a one-on-one try before we make any commitments. My eyes must have bulged out of my head because she started laughing at me. Have you already contacted someone? Certainly. Heather took out her phone and started showing me pictures of the woman. She was great. Her brown hair, mesmerizing green eyes, and plump lips impressed me. I flipped through the photos while Heather spoke. Their names are Greg and Maureen. He's 34 and she's 28. They are not married, but they have been a couple for 3 years and have been in an open relationship almost the entire time. By the time I got to his pictures, he really was a nice guy. They were a sexy couple. Okay, I'm in the game if you're in the game. I was really interested, at least at this moment. She was just as perverted as I was. I love this woman. Heather said that she would take care of coordinating with Maureen and that they would let us guys know where and when they needed our hard shots. The girls decided to schedule both of our meetings for the same night at a couple of local hotels. None of us wanted strangers in our homes, let alone in our family beds. They decided on 2 nearby hotels, a block apart from each other. Greg and Maureen decided to come together. Heather and I decided to take 2 taxis on our own. I'm not sure I could go through having to watch her leave me for another man. As the agreed-upon night approached, I was both excited and anxious. So many questions flooded my mind. How will this affect my marriage? There was no doubt that our adulterous trysts would change our relationship. After a night like this, we will no longer be faithful to each other. Will I be able to live knowing that Heather had sex with another man? There was something about monogamy that attracted me. I never considered myself a prude, but I liked the idea that I would be Heather's last lover, just like she was mine. Then there were all these ego problems. What if he has a bigger man tool than me? I'm average size, and Heather never complained, but of course every man has these thoughts about his inadequacy, especially in situations like this. And even worse, what if he has more and is a much better lover than me? He was older than us, and I heard many women say that they liked older guys because they knew how to treat a woman properly. Finally, the night we had chosen arrived. We dressed in silence. Heather looked especially good and incredibly sexy. That little black dress she loves so much fits her like a second skin. She wasn't wearing a bra, and the thong she was wearing was nothing more than a silk bandage. I watched in awe as she walked down the stairs, kissed me on the cheek, and headed out to her car. There was a hint of sadness in her eyes. She hesitated, as if she was waiting for me to cancel the whole thing. I didn't do this, and she left. I watched with regret as Heather's car drove away. I immediately changed my mind, ran home, and called my wife. My heart sank as I heard her phone ring from the kitchen counter. She was notorious for forgetting her phone. I didn't know if it was intentional or accidental this time. It might have been innocent, but my jealous mind went dark. She left her phone here on purpose so that I wouldn't ruin her magical night with Greg. I expected more from the woman I loved. That's all. If she's that into Greg, then I'll definitely have sex with Maureen. Why not? I was sitting in the hotel bar when Maureen walked in. I recognized her immediately. Those piercing green eyes were visible all the way through the bar. The emerald green dress showed off her breasts in the best possible way. They seemed to be a little smaller than Heather's. As we greeted each other with a quick kiss on the cheek and a tight hug, I felt that she wasn't wearing any bra or panties either. I was completely captivated by the vision that opened before me. We ordered drinks and chatted. She flirted, touched my hands, and laughed at my stupid puns. After about an hour, she leaned over and said in a hoarse whisper, "Why don't we go to our room, baby? I'm ready and want to try you, and the thought of it drives me crazy." I was ready too. As I turned to pay our bill, I caught a glimpse of a blonde woman walking through the door. For a brief moment, my mind went blank and played a cruel joke on me. Heather introduced herself to me. I heard her laugh. I saw blue eyes in which I liked to get lost. I smelled her favorite perfume. It was a vision. It was a mirage, or maybe just a huge desire to see her. I immediately lost the desire to go anywhere. I lost my lust. I've lost my drive. What the hell am I doing here? I do not want it. I want to be faithful to my wife. As Maureen started to leave, she noticed that I wasn't following her. She stopped and looked at me. There was a question in her eyes. "Are you okay? Did you forget something?" You could tell she was completely confused. "I don't think I can do this," I muttered, stammering. "What do you mean?" "I don't think I can sleep with you. That is, I want to, but I can't." I stood there like the last idiot. She smiled, but it wasn't a sexy or forgiving smile. It was a tense, "What the hell are you talking about?" smile. You just spent an hour with me. You complimented me. You flirted with me. You turned me on. I could see and feel that you wanted me. And now you're saying you can't have sex with me? Her words oozed poison. There was disappointment in her eyes and complete misunderstanding in her heed. "I know you're so sexy and perfect," I stammered, "but I can't disrespect Heather like that. I can't cheat on her. I'm so sorry. I guarantee that right now your beloved is having sex with my beloved Greg. I'm sure she doesn't share your concern. Just gather your courage and thoughts. Let's go upstairs. You turned me on, and I don't want to be the only one here who is left without sex tonight." I just kept looking at her. What a heartless bitch. She has just sunk below the baseboard in my eyes. My attitude towards her changed dramatically. It became disgusting. If she was trying to cheer me up and take me upstairs, then this was the worst way. Maureen, I know this sounds crazy, but I just can't go through with it. It doesn't matter what Heather does at this moment. It's about me and the kind of husband I want to be. I shouldn't have let it get this far. I can't control her at the moment, but I can control myself. I decided that I couldn't break my vow like that and disrespect my wife. Please forgive me, but I have to go. I should have known you were a weakling. Why don't you just go home and cry, thinking about your wife having sex with a real man and you being a cuckold? She took a few steps, then turned to me. Now I'll go and find some real man who will fulfill all my desires. And you have fun at home, wiping your snot and tears while you wait for your beloved wife. And with these words, she left. I was happy with my decision. I would be disappointed in myself for sleeping with such a nasty bitch. I watched her leave and ordered a taxi. I returned to the dark, ominous house. Suddenly it felt strange to be home alone and know that the wife you love is now with another man. Knowing that my heather was cheating on me, could I really blame her? Did she really cheat? These were the questions that plowed me all the way home. I secretly hoped that she would be home when I got there. I hoped she ran away too, but now I know the truth. She didn't. I poured myself a strong Corona and a Coke and sat in the dark, alone with my thoughts and demons. Will she be the same woman I loved when she comes home tomorrow? Will I be able to love her, knowing what happened? I found myself face to face with the grandfather clock in the study. I listened to the pendulum counting seconds, minutes, and then hours. My confusion and regret hurt. I was in the dark when I heard the sound of a car pulling up and stopping in the driveway. I couldn't believe she brought him to our house to have sex in my bed. I became even more angry. Then I heard a car drive away. Our front door creaked open. I could make out muffled crying as a dark figure crossed the hall, heading towards the stairs. She stopped, her head tilted to the side as if she sensed my presence. She was looking straight at me. "Luke, what are you doing here, Heather?" I couldn't help but let a little of my anger out. I was no longer angry with her. I was angry at myself for letting it get this far. Then I felt fear. The situation came to me. Heather came home early and cried. That bastard must have done something to her. I stood up and crossed the room. "What's happened? What did he do?" She rushed from the landing into my arms. Luke, I'm so sorry, baby. Please forgive me." The jolt almost made me lose my balance. Stumbling, I could barely hold on. Heather tensed in my arms. I felt her trembling, clinging to me. We staggered over to the sofa, where I sat her down, stepped back and peered at her. She was disheveled, and there was an almost defeated nature in her. There was something else, a small glimmer of relief in his eyes that belied his depressed demeanor. This matched my own sense of relief that we were both home. "What's happened?" I turned on the light and saw that her makeup was smeared and her eyes were red. "I couldn't do it, Luke. I tried for you, but I couldn't. He tried to get me drunk and force me to stay after I decided I couldn't do it. He tried to force me, but I left." "It's okay, honey. I couldn't do it either." "You couldn't?" I saw surprise in her eyes. "Why, she's so pretty. I couldn't be so disrespectful to you. This was a big mistake from the very beginning. I thought you wanted this. I thought you wanted this, Heather. I never wanted this. I did this just for you. I mean, it really sounded like fun and was fucking fantastic, but when it came to actually going through with it, I couldn't. I just couldn't disgrace our marriage like that." "Me too. I didn't even kiss him, Luke. As soon as I sat down at the table, I realized that someone else was not at all what I wanted. I want to go back there, to the two of us before I had my stupid idea. I'm so sorry, baby." She crawled into my arms. Her face rested on my chest, and we hugged each other. I couldn't believe how close we came to destroying our marriage, our relationship, and everything we hold dear, just because we wanted to give each other what we thought was what the other wanted. It's amazing how generosity can sometimes backfire. I took this as a positive sign. We both respected our relationship so much that even despite the agreement, we could not destroy it. We never heard from Greg and Maureen after that unfortunate night. Today is our 25th wedding anniversary. We are surrounded by family and friends. Our two boys communicate with relatives and friends. I catch a glimpse of Heather across the room. Her eyes meet mine. I'm smiling. She gives me a mischievous grin in response. I raise my eyebrows a couple of times as if asking, "Do you want it?" I point to the empty corridor. Heather comes up to me as I'm sort of checking to see if the door's locked. I keep the door open. Heather grabs my hand as she walks by and we dive inside. I wouldn't trade the last 25 years for anything in the world. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.